All right, what is going on? So I wanted to take some time while I'm doing a little rehab to answer a question. So Mandy asked me a question a while back that I answered in a video, and I wasn't exactly sure if I liked the way I answered it. So I'm gonna answer it again, but I'm gonna do my PT at the same time. So Mandy asked which diet is the best, and she asked that, she said that she's tried a whole bunch of different diets and none of them seem to work for her. So there's not an easy answer to this question. It's a that depends answer. And when I say that depends, it's because, well, it depends on you. So as far as diets go, all diets are, roughly, or any diet that's been popular or people have gotten good results on, it's based in some kind of science. And when we're talking about diets, we're probably referring more to weight loss diets. Now, when it comes to weight loss diets, the whole idea is to put you in a calorie deficit. And there's a bunch of different techniques that you can do to put yourself in a calorie deficit. And these different techniques over the years have taken different names. So, for instance, if we're talking about a low carbohydrate or a keto diet, that is reducing the calories you eat by simply not eating any carbohydrates. So, no carb or low carb, keto, those all run on roughly the same principle of the fact that you're not eating any carbohydrates. We can go more into keto, but that's roughly the idea. Less calories by eating, lost my balance. By eating less carbs. So that's one way to put you in a calorie deficit. Had to flip sides. So, sorry. You're gonna look at my booty for a second. Another way to cut calories is to do a no-fat or low-fat diet. So this was like a big craze back in the 80s and 90s, was low-fat, no-fat stuff. Whenever you have food, it would say low-fat, no fat, zero fat. And the idea is to kind of market it as no fat or low fat, so it's healthier for you, it's okay to eat. So another way to get into a calorie deficit is to eat less calories when it comes to fat. So both of those are basically cutting out a certain macronutrient, whether you're doing no or low carbohydrates or no or low fat. You're cutting that part out of your diet, thus saving some calories and eating less. Another way of creating a calorie deficit is to eat a whole bunch of non-processed foods. So usually foods that are highly processed have more calories. They're very tasty, they have a longer shelf life, but generally speaking, they have more calories. So a diet like this where you're only eating natural stuff, that would be something similar to a paleo diet. And you're eating less calories because more whole foods, generally speaking, have less calories. So that's another way you can create a calorie deficit. And the last way that you can create a calorie deficit is only eating at certain times. So when you narrow down the time that you can eat, you're supposed to eat less times or eat less calories. This is something like intermittent fasting, where you don't eat for 16 hours and then you only have an 8-hour window where you do eat. And the idea there is by only eating at certain times, you're eating less calories. Now, just to be clear, all of these work. All of these methods will reduce your calories and will help you to lose weight if you can stick to them. I got to do the other side. All right, last one of this exercise. So you can either eliminate a specific macronutrient, you can eat a lot cleaner, quote unquote, healthier foods, and thus eating less processed high calorie foods, or you can limit what times of the day you eat. Now, all those are decent strategies for cutting down the amount of calories you're taking in. You know, there's always the good old just eat less, but what exactly does that mean if you don't know how much you're eating? And that is another video. I can talk about that in another video if you want to hear that. So, generally speaking, those are 3 ways that you can lose weight. They all work, but they are all very restrictive. If you're eating a no fat or low fat diet, once you start doing your research and you figure out how many places, especially food that's prepared for you, some kind of fast food or even sit down to go food or sit down restaurant food, you'll be surprised at how many foods have fat in them, mixed in them either for cooking or for sauces, and how difficult it is to avoid fat in your food. So it can feel very, very restrictive. Same thing with the low carbohydrate. Same thing with the low carbohydrate diet. When you start realizing how many foods have carbs in them and how much you have to steer away from certain things, that can feel very restrictive. If you're eating a paleo diet with nothing processed, only all natural, if you can't, pick it or kill it, you shouldn't eat it type of, if you're eating that type of diet, you can find that that's very restrictive. Intermittent fasting can be very restrictive because if you're not used to only eating at certain amount of times, you're going to be like ravenous hungry when it comes to those eating windows. So one of the main reasons I think that people roll through these diets is they are just too restrictive. You go from kind of eating whatever you want when you want to having a very structured diet. That takes a lot of time. And a lot of people want to jump right in. They think, I'm going to start a new diet on Monday. So this is my last weekend, and they binge. And then come Monday, oh, I'm so bloated. I don't want to do this or that. And then they never start because that starting point is so difficult because of how much you have to change your normal routine. So whenever it comes to diets, which one works the best? Well, they all work if you could adhere to them. And a lot of people that have had success on certain diets or with a diet, it's because they've chosen something they can stick with for the long run. They can consistently do it over and over again. So rather than wondering what diet works the best, I'm going to suggest to Mandy that try just eating at normal times. Try that first, because one of the things over many years that I've learned is people just aren't consistent enough with their meals. One day they eat breakfast, the next day they don't, or sometimes they eat lunch, or sometimes they eat dinner, or sometimes they get hungry, in between. So just make it very, very simple. First thing you should do with a diet is try to eat 3 times a day. Spread those out into a schedule that's going to work for you, and you're just eating 3 times a day. Start there. Once 3 times a day is easy, then make sure that you're eating more whole foods during those meals, less processed foods. Once you can do that, then you can start worrying about the certain types of proteins you're getting, the certain types of carbohydrates, the certain types of fats. You can start weighing it out. You can start counting your macros. You can let it snowball from there. But which diet is the best? They all work. Which one is best for you? And how are you going to go from where you're at now to something that is, to whatever diet that is sustainable enough to get you the results that you need? I know that's not an easy answer. I know some people love it when internet people say that intermittent fasting is the best, or when they say that keto is the best, or paleo, or whatever it is. But the truth is, they're all going to work, but do they work for you? And are they going to work in the long run? If you have any questions or comments, or maybe you've had really good luck or really good results on a certain workout, leave a comment below. And if you want to see me answer another question, I'll leave a link to a video somewhere. And I'll see you in the next video.